Raiders looking to stop the bleeding as they're riding a 4-game losing streak. They may not have all the cast and characters that they need, but they're going to have to find a way to get a win. We'll break that down plus more on Friday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for October 10th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. We definitely appreciate you. If you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page, you know we appreciate both. Show grows each and every day because of your support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good each and every day. We shout him out. We appreciate him. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. You can hit me up as well at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, we got the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line for you, 707-654-4693. As a matter of fact, we'll hear from you as we close things out. Segment number 3, your calls and texts. Great feedback. All week long, we've had great feedback, so we'll get as much in as possible as we close out the show. Segment number 2, we'll do as we always do on Fridays or the last show before a game day, and that's give you keys to victory. All 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams, coaching we'll throw in there as well. But we'll do that coming up in segment number 2, how the Raiders can get a victory and improve their overall record to 2-4 and snap the 4-game losing streak they're currently on. Here is segment number 1, news and notes of the day. Go over the injury report a little bit more, and we'll jump right into that after I tell you about the title sponsor of the show, which is FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So off top, let's go over the injury report for Thursday. We didn't get an opportunity to go over it on Thursday's episode because of the crossover edition, but I'll go over it real quickly. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll get another injury report later on this afternoon. Then 90 minutes before kickoff, we'll find out who is inactive for the Raiders and the Titans. So real quickly, Brock Bowers, A.J. Cole, tight end and punter, knee injury and ankle injury. Brock's dealing with the knee injury, A.J. Cole with the ankle. Neither guy participated on Wednesday or Thursday. Don't think either guy is going to go on Sunday. Just my gut feeling. We'll find out today. A.J. Cole's going to try to kick during practice. Pete Carroll already said that. If he can go, he'll go. If he can't, he won't. So they already have a kicker on the practice squad, so it gives them an opportunity to call him up on Saturday, make him a Saturday elevation. He can do that 4 times. It gives them an opportunity so they don't have to put A.J. Cole on IR. They could just allow him to get healed up as quickly as possible. But my gut feeling tells me A.J. is not going to go. But today they'll test it out with A.J. Cole and find out. But don't think Brock Bowers is going to go. Honestly, I don't expect to see Brock Bowers till after the bye week, but that's just me. Max Crosby, Michael Mayer. Max is dealing with the knee injury. Michael Mayer with the concussion. Both guys full participants on Wednesday and Thursday. They'll be good to go for Sunday. Jackson Powers-Johnson, he's dealing with the ankle injury. Again, full participant Wednesday and Thursday. Good to go. Eric Stokes, dealing with the knee injury. Limited on Wednesday, full participant on Thursday. He should be good to go on Sunday, which is great. It's great news to have him back. And then J.J. Pegues, defensive tackle, knee injury, not listed on Wednesday, full participant on Thursday. So seems like it was just something really minor, and he's good to go. Now, for the Tennessee Titans, their injury report's a lot longer than the Raiders. Again, the two, obviously, that are major for the Raiders are Bowers and A.J. Cole. Both guys most likely out coming up on Sunday. But for the Titans, offensive lineman Blake Hance, shoulder injury, DNP on Wednesday and Thursday. Cornerback Marcus Harris, calf injury, DNP on Wednesday and Thursday. Arden Key, old friend Arden Key, outside linebacker, right, dealing with the quad injury, DNP on Wednesday, DNP on Thursday. Their kicker, right, the Raiders are talking about A.J. Cole and how he might not go. Their kicker, Joey Sly, right calf injury, DNP on Wednesday, DNP on Thursday. It's a good chance, as I talked to multiple guys this week covering the Tennessee Titans, both Teron Davenport from ESPN and also Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com. Neither one of those guys thinks that their kicker, Joey Sly, is going to go. So that's something to pay attention to as well. As the Raiders are dealing with special teams issues and their punter maybe not being available for Sunday, well, the Titans are dealing with their kicker. As far as guys that were limited, their wide receiver Van Jefferson dealing with the ankle injury. He didn't participate on Wednesday, but was limited on Thursday, so clearly he's trending in the right direction. J.C. Latham, their right tackle, this is a big deal. Hip injury, he's missed 4 games. Limited on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. Jim Wyatt told me he thinks he's going to go on Sunday, so that's something to pay attention to. If their right tackle is out, maybe it's a day that Max Crosby has a better opportunity to eat. I think he could beat J.C. Latham anyway, but if there's a guy that's a backup in there, Max Crosby is licking his chops. So pay attention to J.C. Latham as well. Their wide receiver, Bryce Oliver, knee injury, limited on Wednesday and Thursday. Looks like he'll probably go. And L'Jarius Sneed, he had a day of rest on Wednesday. He was good back, full participant on Thursday, so he's good. Jeffrey Simmons, obviously we're paying attention to him. Ankle injury, DNP on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. I'm sure he'll go on Sunday. He's a gamer. And then their safety, Kevin Winston Jr., hamstring injury, limited on Wednesday, also limited on Thursday. Again, we'll get another injury report later on this afternoon. So if you follow me on Twitter, @yourboyQ254, you'll see me tweet it out. It's been coming around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's Pacific time. So if you follow me on Twitter, go ahead and check it out. I'll probably tweet it out as soon as I get it. So that's the injury report for both the Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. Now, I wanted to get into some Jack Besh sound because I do think you're going to see more Jack Besh this week. I do think that you'll continue to see the uptick in his snap count. You saw him get an uptick last week. I wanted to get into Jack Besh. Me and Vinny Bonsignore caught up with him in the Raiders locker room on Wednesday, but we also had a really good day on Thursday in the Raiders locker room. We caught up with Michael Mayer. We caught up with Eric Stokes, who it sounds like he's going to be good to go. We also caught up with Adam Butler. And I think the conversation with Adam Butler, since he's a leader, big-time leader, and this Raiders defense needs to get more pressure on the quarterback than they've been getting. Obviously, Cam Ward is a different dude coming into Allegiant Stadium. Let's go ahead and let you hear from Adam Butler. Again, one of the captains, not technically a captain, but he's a guy who's a leader in that Raiders locker room. Obviously, he's in a starter role now that Christian Wilkins isn't there. Me and Vinny caught up with Adam Butler in the Raiders locker room on Thursday.
When you play a team like the Colts last week that threw the ball as quickly as they did, how frustrating is that as a defensive lineman doing your job, but you just really had no chance to get to the quarterback?
Yeah, it does get pretty frustrating. It's that on top of playing from behind. I hate playing from behind. But yeah, it gets pretty frustrating knowing that the ball is coming out, and it's like, you can get to your rush or you can be in the right spot, and there it goes.
What do you think needs to happen to start generating more of not just getting the pressure, because you guys are getting pressure, but getting the quarterback to the ground?
I think we got to put points on the board. We got to make sure that the deep ball is not a possibility and just take it away. The more we give those up, the more teams will be confident to throw the deep ball, and we don't want that. We don't want that stigma on us. So we got to take away the deep ball. We got to put points on the board, and we just got to make a play. If teams continue to quick pass, we just need to make a play. We need to take a chance. I don't play corner, but maybe jump the route. We need to punish them. If with guys to the ball, we knock the ball out. Something. We need to get teams out of that mindset.
How much of his emphasis is it to stop the run first so you can pin your ears back and get to the
That's
quarterback?
always number one.
Yeah.
We holding it down in the inside. That's always number one.
But as you said, offenses are going to attack differently when they have a lead, and they can do some different things, not have to take chances and play it carefully. Do you kind of feel like that's been not an issue, but something that you guys have had to deal with?
I think it's probably been something, that's quietly been on our back, because when they have control of the game like that, everything's a possibility. If we can make teams one-dimensional, take the run away or take the quick pass or whatever away, I think the odds will be in our favor. But until we do that, it'll be a problem.
Not trying to get you to go against the officials or anything, but you timed up a play last week, perfectly timed, right? How difficult is it to time it up perfectly and make it look legal so they don't?
Yeah, I've done my best to let that go.
Yeah, my bad.
I know. I really felt like that was a great play.
Yeah.
It just didn't go my way. Maybe I have to wait half a second later next time, but had to let that one go, man. It sucks.
That was a tough one. It looked like a clean play.
It was a great play. I thought it was a great
looked really
play.
clean.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Your leadership has always been second to none in this locker room. You've always done everything you can for this team. How much is your leadership being, I don't want to say tested, but how much is it needed right now as you guys are on a skid?
Yeah, it's definitely steeper this year, right? Because I have a starting role in the defensive line room now.
Yeah.
And I just want to continue to be me, and I want to keep applying pressure to myself to make plays, and make a difference on this team. So
Thought that was just some good stuff to hear from Adam Butler. He's always been a leader, even going back to last year when he wasn't a starter and the team was struggling. He was that guy that stood up in the locker room and was like, hey, what are you willing to do for your brother? I got your back. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to do my job. I need you to do yours. So he's always played that leadership role and has had that leadership quality about himself, and the Raiders need it right now as they're on that 4-game losing streak. Real quick, going back to what Wednesday show was it when we did the tiers, and I was talking about where I would tier the Raiders according to the Locked On Podcast Network, the tiers that they were putting out there. We had some fun with it. I wanted to let you know how the whole AFC West ended up shaking out after all the different hosts they tiered their teams. For the Broncos, who sit at 3-2, Locked and Loaded was what they called themselves. That was their tier, which is the highest tier. So, okay, I didn't quite think they were locked and loaded. I think they still have a few questions, but I get it. And that was the Broncos host that selected that. The Chiefs, who are 2-3, hope changes week to week. Totally can understand that. The Raiders, obviously I picked, I'm not mad, just disappointed, sitting there at 1-4. And the Chargers, who at 3-2, I'm kind of surprised. Injury report or CVS receipt. To me, I feel like they're a better team than that. I know that their bookend tackles are out, and I know that they are dealing with some injuries, but I kind of feel like that they're more talented than injury report or CVS receipt. It almost feels like an excuse, but okay, that's how they slotted them, so I'm not going against it. I'm just telling you, just pass it along. The weatherman. I'm letting you know there's a chance of rain. You might want to take a jacket. You might want to take an umbrella. Just throwing it out there. So that's what I wanted to make sure to pass along to you, just so you knew where the rest of the teams in the AFC West, where they stood. Coming up in segment number 2, what is it going to take for the Raiders to get a victory? Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. We look at it all coming up in today's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast, segment number 2, on the way next. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about one of the great sponsors we have here on the Locked On Raiders podcast, and that is Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The part finder tools and 3D schematics could save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Their trademark master perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Time to talk about keys to victory, something that we do each and every Friday or the last show before game time. So that's what it is on this Friday. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. We're going to look at all of that. And coaching, it's real simple for me. You know, you win the coin toss, defer to the second half. I always say that. I'm going to say it every single week the rest of the season. Just that simple. So we can go ahead and get that out of the way right now. So let's go ahead and jump into offense. Quick, short throws to wide receivers and backs. I don't think Geno needs to hold the ball like he's been holding it. There's been times that we've been very critical of the offensive line, but there's been times when Geno has held the ball, predetermined where he was going to go, stared down the receiver, and then threw it, and that leads to turnovers. So get the ball out of his hand quickly, quick, short throws, wide receivers, right, tight ends, Big Mike's coming back, obviously running backs out of the backfield. I'm good with that, right? And speaking of wide receivers, Jack Besh, I mentioned him, right? He's a chain mover. Get him the ball, right? He's going to get more snaps, but you get him the ball. He's similar to Jacoby Myers, and maybe this is going to end up pulling from Jacoby's snap count. I'm not 100% sure. Someone's snap count's going to go down while Jack Besh's go up, but he's a chain mover, and that's what I call Jacoby Myers. But 5 of Jack Besh's catches, 5 out of 5 of his catches this season have gone for first downs. So, again, he's a guy that is a chain mover, and that's fine. I would like long, sustained drives like the Raiders have had multiple times. The only thing is when they have those long, sustained drives, they settle for 3 as opposed to getting 7. So they need to get touchdowns as opposed to field goals. But Jack Besh, getting him out there, I'm not saying that he's the greatest athlete out there. I'm not saying that he's going to be a guy that takes the top off the defense. He doesn't need to be. Just pick up first downs, keep the sticks, the chains moving, and keep the defense off the field so they can get a rest. So when they do go out there and play well, and they have had their moments where they play well, they're not on the field the whole time. So, again, quick, short throws to wide receivers and backs. Besh is a chain mover. Feel free to get him the rock. And then you got to feed Genty, right? I mean, this is one of those, and when it's Brock Bowers and Genty out there, it should always be the Genty and Bowers show, right? Those guys should be the focal point of the offense. With no Brock Bowers, and I don't expect he's going to play on Sunday, feed Genty, 20 to 25 touches, right? 20 carries, 5 to 7 targets, right? He had, 4 catches last week, 7 targets, or 5 catches on 7 targets. I'm good with that. That's a really good number. You saw that he can catch the ball. The wheel route out of the backfield was great, right? The scripted plays by Chip Kelly were really good offensively. The problem was when they got off script is when it got a little haywire. So whatever he's using that works really well early on, be able to use that later on. And I know teams are going to adjust. Well, you've got to be able to counter. You got to be able to make those adjustments as well. But feed Genty 20 to 25 touches, 20 carries, 5 to 7 targets. We're good there. And in all caps, if I'm texting this to you, if I'm sending you an email, whatever the case may be, in all caps, no turnovers. No turnovers. Got to maintain the ball. Do not turn the rock over. It's wild, man. It's really wild that they turn the ball over so much and don't create turnovers. But they cannot do that. Geno Smith can't do too much. He just can't. Defensively, pressure is a must. The whole defense goes if there's no pressure, right? If they're able to get pressure, the defense is that much better. They've got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. Last week against the Colts, Daniel Jones' jersey was as clean leaving the game as it was starting the game. It's not going to work. Darian Porter, I need to see him out there. He's a key. Get him out there over Caillou Blue Kelly, and that's why it's important for Eric Stokes to come back. Really good to see him in the locker room, talk to him in the locker room, and see him participating in full. He needs to get back out there. He's been having a really good season. Quiet, but a good season. Darian Porter, I'll take the chances with him over Caillou Blue Kelly. It's just not working for Caillou, unfortunately. Cam Ward's got to stay in the pocket. You got to keep contained. He's another one of these guys you want to fence in. He's athletic, right? If stuff starts to break down, right, they're trying to teach him there in Tennessee not to go for the big play all the time, try to take what the defense gives him, right? But if he gets a little overzealous, you could turn him over, but he also could run the rock. You know he's very athletic. He's going to keep plays alive. You got to keep him in the pocket. You got to keep contained. You got to fence him in. It's just that simple, right? Same thing you did with Caleb Williams. When Caleb Williams gets out of the pocket, you saw him. That's when he's at his best, when he's playing backyard football. That's Cam Ward. Don't let him play backyard football. Make him stay in the pocket. Make him make a decision. Give yourself an opportunity to create a turnover. And for the love of God, create a couple turnovers, right? I mentioned it when I said don't turn the ball over. Well, create a couple defensively. The Raiders are -6. -6. They've turned the ball over 10 times, and they've only created 4 turnovers. And it's funny, on Thursday, I asked Patrick Graham about the defense and turnovers, and he got hot. He didn't get hot at me, but he got hot just because he's irritated because they're not creating those turnovers when it's been such an emphasis of Pete Carroll's. It's been such an emphasis of Patrick Graham. And it's not just this year. It's gone back many years since Patrick Graham's been defensive coordinator. This Raiders team just does not create turnovers. So here it is. Check it out. Me asking the question about turnovers, and you can hear Patrick Graham, the mood in his voice change.
The defense has caused some tip balls and some batted balls, like you mentioned with Snowden, but they're not coming up with the turnover. Is that just it's coming, it's going to come in bunches? Or how do you generate more of those turnovers?
Here's what I would tell you. I'm so tired. I'm trying to be mindful of my language, of talking about whatever it is we got to do. Mm-hmm. That's how they feel. We got to do. So I could talk about we're doing this, that. We just got to make it happen. Got to take the ball away. However it happens, that's what we got to do. So that's how I'm talking to him. You can see my whole mood and demeanor change. Done talking, we got to do. So we're unlucky. I mean, the language I would use right now, F that. But no, we got to do. That's what it says, just win, baby. You just got to do it. That's what we got to do.
Okay,
all right, thanks.
Out of his mouth, not mine, right? You could hear Patrick Graham irritated, said, I'm tired of talking about it. Just go out and do it. He said, I'm talking to these guys the same way. If he wasn't at the podium, he would have used much more colorful language. His words, but not mine, right? You heard what he said, F that. So you know what he means. And I wasn't trying to irritate him. I wasn't trying to get under his skin, but it's just something about it. Every team that bats the ball in the air, they come away with it. The Raiders bat the ball in the air, it falls harmlessly to the ground. Or, in the case of the Colts game, it doesn't fall to the ground. Anthony Richardson gets it and gets 9 yards, gains 9 yards on it. Like, that's the worst case scenario. You bat the ball in the air, you did that part right, but you don't come down with the ball, you don't create the turnover. The Colts keep the ball. Not only do they keep the ball, they catch it and advance it 9 yards, so they just about get a first down on a mistake that they made and a good play that you made. That can't happen, so you understand why Patrick Graham was irritated in that answer. Special teams, man, all around has to be better, right? Normally I just say they got to keep doing what they do. No, man. Special teams has not been special for the Raiders. A.J. Cole probably won't go. He's the punter and the holder, so that's something to pay attention to. Kick coverage needs to be 100% better, right? I would like a return, but I'll settle for good kick coverage, right? I always ask for a good kick return or two. I don't even care about that. Just have good kick coverage. Be sound in that area and keep it away, or at least be aware of Chimere DK, the rookie out of Florida, the wide receiver. Tyler Rowland talked to us about him on the crossover edition. Teron Davenport from ESPN talked on my radio show about him. Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com talked about him. He is their difference maker. He is their X factor. He is a guy that could change the game with the return. He's had 25 kick returns this year for 666 yards. Not a good number, but I get it. 26.6 yards per carry and a long of 71, and he had a touchdown called back because of a block in the back. That was not even affecting the play. The dude's electric. He's a game changer. Number 17, Chimere DK. Watch out for him. Punt returns, 6 for 82. He's only had 6 attempts because the Titans don't make people punt very often. 13.7 yards per return. Just keep the ball away from him, or at least be aware of him. And if you do let him get the ball in his hands, you got to go get him. Got to get him to the ground. Just that simple. That's my keys to victory: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching for week 6. So the Raiders could end up 2-4 as opposed to 1-5. Coming up in segment number 3, your calls and texts will close out the show. 707-654-4693. What's on your mind? We'll hear from you next. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about the title sponsor of the show, which is FanDuel. The NFL season's here. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So, for example, if you think the Raiders are going to get this win and get it going away, right, the Raiders are favored by 4.5 points. Some places have 3.5, but FanDuel, 4.5 points currently. You think they're going to win by a touchdown, at least win by 5? Maybe you roll with that bet. Put that bet on the Raiders, not only see a win, but also get a little bit of money in your pocket, right? You can also put together parlays, player props, live lines during games, whatever the case may be. You could do any of it. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts. You have that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. Let's start things off with a call from Darren from the 203. He's calling to talk about Wednesday's shows about tiers that you'd put the Raiders in after 5 games. Here's Darren from the 203.
Hey, Q, it's Darren calling from the 203, following the theme from Wednesday's show. Cheering the Raiders, I would pretty firmly agree with you and put them in the not mad, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I still think we do, but we have adults in the building for the first time in God knows how long, and that's not showing the result you would anticipate. I'm disappointed because we went out and were aggressive in addressing the quarterback issue for at least the short term, and apparently it isn't enough to address the quarterback issue for any amount of time. I'm disappointed because our run blocking and our pass blocking hasn't been up to the standard that it should be. I'm disappointed because our pressure on the quarterback hasn't been up to the standard that it should be. And I'm disappointed because the Raiders have let go of games that they should win, and I'm disappointed because the special teams does not look like a unit that should be the most cohesive. Or not cohesive, what's the right word? Congruent. I mean, maybe you could say the defense, but the defense had a lot of turnover, which, I guess in turn means a lot of turnover for special teams. But, McMahon stayed. As far as I'm aware, most of the staff stayed for special teams. So, to see it fall off a cliff, definitely disappointing. And I'm going to continue to err on the side of give it time. I do completely understand and think it's valid why a lot of Raider Nation would tell me to go F myself regarding that. Look at the Jaguars, look at the Patriots even. What about their time? And, the Raiders have been waiting for a very long time. But Dan Campbell didn't have it set straight after one season. Right, I'm sure people were calling for his head after week 5 or 6 from their season, his first year over there too. So I just encourage patience And if it doesn't work out with this regime, it doesn't work out with this regime. I can't speak. But yeah, that's it for me, Q. Not mad, definitely disappointed. That's all. Appreciate you, appreciate Ari. Go Raiders.
Darren, thanks for the call. Appreciate that. I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Same one I put him in. And for every reason you brought up makes sense, right? Lots of things to be disappointed in. For me, the biggest factor, honestly, is that the coach, Coach Pete Carroll, he's got skins on the wall. He's got a resume that shows that this works and that he knows what he's doing, as opposed to other coaches that the Raiders have had, right? They've had a lot of questions after John Gruden. And even John Gruden 2.0 was a question at times, but it looked like it was starting to come together, and we all know how that ended. But Pete Carroll, it's like, okay, this guy is the adult in the room, as you mentioned, is a guy that, kind of, what he's all about. He's been there, done that. He's going to get this thing turned around, and the Raiders are going to be at least competitive. They're not going to win every game, but they're going to be competitive. And for them to look the way that they have 2 out of 5 games, that's the big disappointment. That's why I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. Thanks for the call, man. Really good to hear from you. Up next, got a text from 7 in the 831. He says, hey, Q, it's 7 from the 831. I believe that's, Salinas, Monterey, Seaside, that area over there. I used to work there, so shout you out. I just listened to the squad show, and that bit where you were speaking on Chip, talking about JPJ having a big ego, really got to me, bro. In my opinion, there's positive egos and negative egos. Max has a huge ego, and we benefit from that. Well, we'll let him do what he does. Ashton is the same boat. At first, they tried to tell him to do that or to do this, and once we let him be himself, it showed. He has a huge ego, and that's good. It benefited us. Chip Kelly, Geno Smith, those are negative egos. First with Chip, seems like him winning the ship, giving him this big head where he knows he's best, or he thinks he knows what's best. That might work with kids, but not grown men. If a player on your team is confident in their craft, feed that. Let them do what they do and put them in the best position that you can to let them shine and continue to shine. Love that JPJ is confident at center. That's where he belongs. He's a damn good center. Now with Geno, his ego is wild to me. I honestly feel like he let all that money get to his head. His attitude where he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong, him blaming others for his interceptions is wild. If that man doesn't start holding himself accountable for his mistakes, then we'll be in the same team. We'll be the same team we've been for since week 2 through week 5. My point is, don't let these egos separate us from being a team, because at the end of the day, that's what we are, a bleeping team. Go Raiders. Let's get this dub. That's 7 in the 831. Thanks so much for the text. I appreciate you. And yeah, you're right about, egos, where it's good egos and there's bad egos, right? And bad egos can really get in the way and slow things down. Good egos, not so much, right? Good egos is just, hey, I'm very confident in what I do. I think all of us could say, hell, I could say that about myself, right? I'm very confident in what I do, and I'm not trying to make that come off as a, an ego or whatever like that. But if I'm not confident, then what am I doing? Right? So that's one thing. I mean, I guess I've been told I got overconfidence at times, but that's cool. Whatever. But the way that Chip Kelly said it about JPJ when Vinny asked him the question and said, and matter of fact, it's funny. It's funny you bring this up, because on Thursday we talked to Chip Kelly again, and he was asked about Dylan Parham, and he brought up the whole thing that Vinny said about JPJ a week ago. So even a week later, it was still resonating with him. Because he said, yeah, I felt his aura. And we all started to laugh, because that was what he said. That was the words he used to Vinny when Vinny was like, could you feel JPJ out there? And he's like, yeah, I didn't feel his aura. I don't feel players' auras, And so, but even a week later, he still was thinking about that. So that's something to pay attention to. And they kind of let me know how he feels about JPJ and where the coaching staff feels he is right now in year number 2. But thanks so much for that text. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a call from Raider Vengeance in the 504. He's calling to talk about the reality that he sees with this Raiders team. Here he is, Raider Vengeance in the 504.
Hey, Q. This is Raider Vengeance calling from the 504 in New Orleans. Just a quick comment about current state of things with the Raiders. I think it's obvious that we are in a rebuild, whether that was the plan or that is the reality. I think the reason that we are seeing the product that we are seeing on the field is because reality smacked us in the face, and I don't think we planned to be in full rebuild, but we are. We kind of, when you think about what the Raiders did, they didn't go get their quarterback. They didn't fully commit to, we're rebuilding. So we kind of got these moves that were kind of like half measures. We obviously don't have our quarterback of the future in Geno. I would argue we don't have our coach of the future with Pete. And what we're getting is what we're seeing on the field. We're getting, what it looks like, the product on the field looks like a team and an organization. So, I'm talking front office coaching that doesn't have a plan. It's weird. You see, we got Max Crosby, we got Bowers, we got Genty, so we got 3 stars. But then you look at everybody else, it's like, who are these guys? A bunch of practice squad players, second stringers, dudes that probably would either not be starting or not be playing, period, on any other team. So we're not even like, our roster construction is not even set up like a team that's actually rebuilding. So it's just a frustrating year. I'm already in draft mode. I like Carson Beck out of Miami, formerly Georgia, and I think it's a wasted year. I think it's 100% is evaluation season. Even if they eke out a win against the Titans this weekend, it does not matter. We are not beating anybody. We are not going to the playoffs. Any game we win, just like last year, all it does is hurt our draft position. So either way, love what you do, Q and Ari. I listen to y'all every week. And go Raiders.
Vengeance, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. And at the point that you bring up about not fully committing to a rebuild, just kind of halving it, and that's some of the issue. That's something I talked about, right? I mean, the Raiders are trying to win now, but then also build for the future, and it's not easy to do that. That is definitely something that is going on, and it makes it even more difficult, right? Either you're in or you're out. If you try to win now and you're playing veterans and you're not playing your young guys, and then you wait till like late November or early December when it's, when it is evaluation season, when it is draft time, then you've wasted a whole year of seeing what these players could do. So it's really hard to do that. But I'm not in on the draft right now, right? That's why when we did the tier thing for the Locked On Podcast Network, I was not talking about, is it April yet? Not doing that. You got to give me a late November, early December before I even get close to that. And that's only if things don't get turned around. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. Just got time for a couple more. This one comes from text from Raider783 in Fresno. Said, after a second blowout loss, I'm keeping my expectations even more modest than before, which I thought was fairly modest at the time. First, I expect to win against Tennessee, of course. Second, I don't want any more special team catastrophes. The long returns, block kicks, they have to stop. Even just mildly disappointing special teams play would be better than what we've seen recently. Third, I still believe Geno could be an effective quarterback for the Raiders, although my internal barometer on the calls for Kenny Pickett have gone from a hard no to a soft no for now. I believe Geno and a lot of the team have to play through and progress beyond this rough start. Hopefully we see a noticeably improved team within this season. Appreciate the show you and Ari put out for us. Raider783 in Fresno, Cali. Thanks so much. I think you summed it up. I don't think there's much for me to say there. I think you pretty much summed it up right there, just giving your raw feelings, and especially heading into week 6. And again, this is a game against Tennessee. They should win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they should win. Right? Tennessee's not a very good team, but you know what? The Tennessee Titans are saying the same thing about the Raiders. They're not a very good team. And until they prove that they are, they're not wrong. They're 1-4, just like Tennessee is. I don't care how Tennessee got that dub. They're 1-4, just like the Raiders. So thanks so much for the text. I appreciate you. We'll close out with a quick call from my guy, my brother, PE in North Carolina. He's calling to give a prediction on the upcoming game and let it be known who this game is on, who he's going to be most focused on during it. Here he is, PE in North Carolina.
What's up, Q-Park? What's up, Raider Nation? I'll make it quick today. This game coming up against the Titans, this is a Patrick Graham special right here. We've seen this over and over and over in Patrick Graham's time with the Raiders. When we get rookie quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks, he makes them look like all-stars by playing this soft defense. And I'm going to make a prediction right now. If Patrick Graham plays this soft defense, basic coverage, with no detailed blitzing, nothing to make the quarterback confused, we will lose this game against the Titans. And I don't care what the offense does, this game is squarely on Patrick Graham. Peace out, Raider Nation.
P, it's always great to hear from you, my man. And, yeah, we have seen this song and dance before, right? PG and the defense has allowed a guy who's trying to figure out or just find a way to win to go in and ball out, right? We've seen it happen. Don't want to keep talking about it. Don't want to keep bringing it up. Don't want to see it keep becoming a recurring situation. But we have seen it. There's no doubt about it. I'd be lying if I said we didn't, right? And you know better than that. So, again, just like I said before, the Raiders should win this week. They should not take an L. Does not mean that they're going to win this week. Does not mean they're not going to take an L, but they shouldn't. So we will see, my man. We will see. It's always great to hear from you, though. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. So that's going to do it for today's show. That's going to do it for this week. We'll be back at it on Monday, of course. Hopefully I'm handing out some game balls for only the second time this year. Hopefully we're talking about a Raiders victory, and hopefully they go in there and really put it down and have a really good, strong victory. Not one they just squeak by, but a really strong one where it's like, man, this looks like a really good team. Now, granted, you know who the competition is, but that doesn't matter. You take a win the way you can get it, but put in a good showing. I'd love to see that. We'll see how it plays out. But like I said, we'll be back here on Monday to talk about it. So take care of yourself, Raider Nation. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.